want to greet you all a happy new year, and for my first video of 2020 I'm going to be making a sewing tutorial. So the top I will be transforming today is this silk blouse that I found at a thrift store, and I picked this one especially because of the pattern. I love the gold details and how luxurious it looks. I decided to make this sort of crisscross in the front with a little ruffled peplum bottom. So let's head on with the tutorial. To start, make the pattern by folding a t-shirt in half and also fold it diagonally. Trace the t-shirt onto a piece of paper to make the front pattern. Also add 1/2 inch of seam allowance. Place the pattern with the diagonal part onto the button placket, trace around the pattern with a water-soluble marker, and cut it out. Do the same thing on the other side. Now you should have 2 identical mirrored pieces, and when you overlay them, the front part will look like this. Cut the bottom of the shirt to create a long rectangle that will be used for the ruffled bottom. Leave it on the side for now. For the back piece, fold the remaining of the fabric in half and trace the back of the t-shirt you used to make the front. And once you're done tracing, you can cut it out. Unfold it and the back is perfectly symmetrical. I want the sleeves to be wider at the end like a bell sleeve, so I'm going to trace the sleeve starting at the slimmer part and then trace a straight line at the wider part. Cut it out and the sleeve is complete. Now that all the pieces are cut out, we can start sewing. Hem the edge of the sleeve with a slim double hem. Fold the edges in twice and sew it down. Next, hem the neckline of the back piece with the same slim double hem. Add the front pieces to the back pieces, right sides touching, and sew the shoulder seams. Next, sew the side seams by using a French seam. For this, sew it with the wrong sides touching and sew it as close as possible to the edge. Turn it right sides together and fold the side seam. Sew it in at about 1/4 inch, wide enough so that the inside seam is hidden inside the stitches. And now you have a clean and fray-free side seam. It's time to attach the sleeves. Flip the top inside out so that the right sides are touching and insert the sleeve. Pin the sleeve to the armhole. Sew all around. Before moving on to the ruffled bottom, sew the front pieces together at the bottom. I made them overlap at 2.5 inches from the side seam. Make sure that the layer with the buttonholes is on top. Sew a basting stitch so that the 2 front layers are attached together. Remove the buttons from the shirt so that we can place them where the new buttons are located. The buttons add a touch of detail and are also going to help the front part stay in place. For the ruffled bottom, fold the edge in at 1.5 inches. Pin it along the edge and sew a basting stitch to create the ruffles. Sew it in at 1/2 inch, like that 1 inch is remaining for the ruffles. Gather the fabric by pulling on one of the threads. Once it's ruffled enough to fit the top, the ruffles are done. Pin it to the top and top stitch it down. Sew right on top of the existing stitch. I found that the ruffles weren't ruffling as much as I expected and were also kind of drooping because of their length, so I decided to sew a second row of ruffles. Again, sew a basting stitch and pull on the thread to gather the fabric. Sew it with a top stitch onto the top. This makes the ruffles much more visible, and I also really like how the 2 rows of ruffles turned out. And we're done. Here's the final transformation. you for watching all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you would like, please subscribe to my channel for more DIY and fashion related content. So yeah, see you in my next video. Bye!